Hi guys, welcome to We Are Tottenham TV. This is our instant match reaction to the Manchester United 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2 game at Old Trafford. It was a basketball game from the start. It was end to end. It was exactly what you'd expect from a big Ange Tottenham Hotspur performance, but I would say, especially because Man United had an unbelievable chance to nick the points at the end, it's a good result for Spurs. And actually, Marlon from at Southview Coys is with me today. A good performance from Tottenham Hotspur, especially considering all of the injuries we've got.
Yeah, no, look, I think we both said from the beginning, it was always going to be that midfield three that was our major concern. Everything else kind of fell into place. Look, there's going to be parts of the season when we've got our full team that we probably will see that front three at some point, like during games. So it's not a case of, you know, that's not down to injuries, but that midfield was, because you got Skip, Højbjerg, and Bentancur, who Bentancur, Højbjerg and Skip are very similar. But I thought we played well. I thought Bentancur, yes, he had to bring his level down a bit, just to what Skip and Højbjerg were doing. Right. But it worked. Everything was working. The goals we conceded are down to us just not clearing our lines. Yeah. And you can see it. And it's not the first time this has happened to Spurs. But you know, you get in those situations at Old Trafford, we're gonna get punished. It's Spurs' luck, as you said from the beginning. But let's be completely honest. We had more possession, we had more shots. We've completely gone to Old Trafford and been the better team. Yeah, we have to say that. But
especially in the second half. Yeah. Especially in the second half.
So it's actually, I'm coming out of that game now a bit disappointed. Yeah. I'm not completely happy. Yeah, it weren't complete Ange ball, but it was Ange ball in moments. And I think the biggest problem we had was when it went to 1-1, we should have done what we done in the second half when we scored the second and had more of the ball and not let Man United come back into it. Yeah. But they did. They scored a great goal.
I think one of the biggest positives for me is it's another step towards the end of this month when we're going to have all of our players back. And we're going to have, well, yeah, but certainly the players back from the AFCON at the beginning of February, and hopefully Sonny at the beginning of February from the Asian Cup, and then Maddison isn't far away from everything I hear. Yeah. And it shows once again how invested this squad are to the way Ange wants them to play, because we weren't afraid to go to Old Trafford and play our way. We continuously broke their press and played it out of the back beautifully and found players like Oliver Skip and Rodrigo Bentancur in acres of space in the midfield. And I think as a United fan, you'd be watching that tonight being like, we are so far behind Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, because if you look at it, look, the Wan-Bissaka playing at left back was a big key moment, and I think Ten Hag has got that spot on. Yeah, right. No matter there's going to be a lot of chat between Spurs fans, and we might in the post-match show as well, where a lot of people are going to say Johnson didn't play well, Johnson this, Johnson that, and we saw it in the chat today. But the problem you've got is he was up against Wan-Bissaka and Varane, and then when Evans came off, he was then up against Martinez.
Top players.
They're top players, and there was a reason why Man United saw Johnson as the threat with his pace. But Werner, on the other side, ends up getting an assist for Bentancur because that's what Dalot's going to allow him to do. Yeah. Right? And also Werner has that chance in the first half where Johnson weren't getting that out of the other two. So if Wan-Bissaka was on the other side, I think we'd be here moaning about Werner instead. Yeah. But it is what it is. And Johnson, he played okay. He weren't terrible, but I get, it's 50 million pounds that we put down on him, but there's going to be a lot of games like this. And I think you're right in the fact is we probably wasn't expecting him to play this much. Yeah,
that's exactly what I think. I think chronologically going through our goals, it gives a good opportunity to talk about Richarlison's performance. I think you mentioned earlier today that you've given him some stick.
Oh, I've given him, definitely.
Today, for me, was absolutely his best number 9 performance in a Spurs shirt. Not just because he scored a goal. In fact, take away that goal. That was a good goal from a set piece, a good headed goal. But his hold-up play, his work rate, his pressing from the front was unbelievable. And I think, if I was doing a player ratings with Sim tomorrow, I would be giving him a strong 9.5 out of 10. And he's shown something today that I think hopefully can persuade a lot of the naysaying Spurs fans that actually he could do a really great job for us in the medium to long term.
What he's got to do, though, is not wait to score in the first 10 minutes. He's got to play like that. Like the next game, he doesn't wait. He's got to have the confidence to play exactly the same way, right? Because the only thing that I will give him, I'll criticise him today is, I thought he should have been, for corners, he should have been on the end of a lot more. He should have made himself a bit busy like he did for the goal, right? But that's not, when I say a criticism, he's done so well at everything else, that's just minor. It's just one of them situations where I go, if you've had that sort of performance in a number 9 shirt, that I'm not asking him to come off.
Yeah.
So his hold up play was good today. Everything was just in the right areas. And I think for him, especially when, like I said, you got Wan-Bissaka, Varane, and even Johnny Evans, and played well. I think Dalot was the weak link. Right? But Richarlison, he won the ball back in the right areas. And even for Man United's second goal, he was way too bad. Where he was, he should have been
hard. It was Kane-ish in his want to kind of get involved and help the team.
The fact that Skip and Højbjerg at the beginning of that move were more near to the top than he was, just showed you what sort of game he had. But yeah, I've got no qualms about Richarlison. That's the sort of performance you want to see consistently.
I think we'll get on to Skip and Højbjerg. I thought actually Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Ollie Skip both played their best football in the kind of last 20 minutes, 25 minutes. They got into the game more. And Højbjerg especially started to look more comfortable on the ball, although he still did do a couple of bad passes. But that can happen, especially when he's being asked to play progressive passes, dangerous, brave passes. But obviously the second goal, the second equaliser, was Rodrigo Bentancur, who was given man of the match by Gary Neville. He's your man of the match as well. I think he has shown what an important player he is for us. All Spurs fans knew he was. And he's playing, as you said, with central midfielders who are not really perfect for Ange ball. And he showed today that he took responsibility, and the goal was stunning.
Well, forget the goal. I think the one thing I said during that commentary was Porro, Romero, and him. If you go watch their triangles, you will see the difference in class between certain players, right? And you can see, even though Pedro Porro was making mistakes with his passing here, there, and there, but it's the way they just played in their triangles. They got it together, played out of situations.
It's technical ability.
And they played handball, right? Because there was a situation where you had your heart in your mouth, but I was like, no. I saw the free it was, and I was like, no, they're gonna play exactly the way it was. But he's got the way he took his goal. You got to give Werner credit, right, for that as well.
The ball at the right time.
So at the right time. Do I give Skip credit for playing the ball behind Werner? I kind of have to, because I don't want Werner 1-on-1. I don't want him to shoot.
Right, okay. So you're gonna suggest that maybe Skip played a bad ball on purpose from having known Werner for 3 days and knowing that actually having him driving at the defender there would be the wrong thing to do.
Possibly. Well, I don't know if it's Skip smart. Yeah, you never know. Skip may have thought, but it was such a look. He lays the ball behind him, but then Werner does very well then to get in a position where he needs to. And this is what Werner's good at. But Bentancur, brilliant finish, everything technique wise. And I've got, like, for me, he was the key man for me today. If it was going to come from, if he played well, I believe we could have got a result.
Yeah. And as I said at half time, we were 2-1 down, but I felt strongly there was a result in there for us, despite the fact that we are, as Gary Neville was actually saying on co-commentary on Sky, he was saying throughout, the worry for Man United here is that Spurs are outplaying them, and Spurs have got 6 of their, 11 players out total, but arguably 5 or 6 who would be in the first team. And I agree with that. And I think it shows that the strength that we are showing under Ange to really buy in. I mentioned it before, but buy into what he wants and go to these big stadiums where we very rarely have the belief to win games and really put it on them. And yes, sure, the last kick of the game pretty much was an unbelievable chance for Scott McTominay, and he should have scored in the same way that Burnley should have scored in the last kick of the game in the cup match. And that's something that we need to think about. But that would have been rough justice on Spurs today, for sure. Let's talk a little bit more about Van de Ven and Romero. I thought Van de Ven, he's had a bit more time since his injury. He had a bit of cramp at the end and did go off, but, just precautionary, nothing wrong. I thought he had a great game. I'd give him an 8 out of 10. And then I thought Romero was a strong 9 out of 10. Oh my God, his play on the ball and some of the passes he sees, his vision is genuinely like a top-class central midfielder. We are so lucky to have him. If Scott Munn and Lang and Ange aren't trying to give him a new contract right now, I don't know why, because he is genuinely, like, you could see him at Real Madrid or Barcelona. I know this isn't news because he's a World Cup winner, but he seems to love this project. He was captain today. I think while we're doing this kind of contract giving out to Udogie and the young players, let's get Romero tied down as well and get him our top earner. I think he's unbelievable.
I think what it was, Romero, in the first 2 minutes for that goal, because he had his hands behind his back and probably didn't spread himself, was probably the worst part that he did all game. Everything he did all after that,
having to do that now, though.
But the worst thing that was probably the worst and the best thing that could have happened, because after that, it's what you call world-class defender, right? And that's why he is that good, and that's why big teams did want him, right? He's come to Spurs. If I agree with the big contract, my biggest worry is now you're going to have the big clubs watching that, especially the Real Madrids of this world, seeing that and going, something special there.
Can't afford him though.
Right? So, but this is the thing. You just don't know. But even Man City, you know, if they wanted to waste, you know, have someone next to Gardeval, it's a Romero that you're looking at, and he is top draw. And I know everyone always goes, but he lets you down in this, he does that, right? But statistically, right, he is our best defender. It was quite weird because on Sky Sports this week, they did when we were trying to sign Dragoshin, they did a thing against all our defenders.
Yeah.
And the comparison that Romero had to the rest was unbelievable. And I'm looking at that going, this is why he's so important to us, because he's good in the air, he's good with his feet, it's just his temperament that sometimes can like when he goes diving in, there's times in that game where he goes at the end and gets I think it was not Fernandez, was it Fernandez? But he goes in after.
Yeah, it was Fernandez. Some retribution because Fernandez had taken him out.
And that's the bit that sometimes lets him down. And this, with Romero, you can't get him too hyped up.
Yeah.
You need to get him hyped up enough for the game, but calm enough to put in a performance like that. And for me, I know everyone was talking about when the Dragon came on, or when Dragon came into the club. Yeah. This is the end of Romero and this and the other.
Who said that?
There's been so many people this week, and I was like, no, because Romero is top draw. Romero, he's gonna look. At the end of the day, at least now we got cover for him as well.
Yeah, and I actually think and this is a final point. I think actually that shows a lot of how much props we have to give to Fabio Paratici. And a little bit, as dangerous as it is, you have to say a little bit to the club as a whole, because they got Paratici in and they've got the recruitment team in now. And actually, if you look at that team, if you take out, you know, Højbjerg and Skip and maybe Werner, and the people who can come in, Sonny, Sarr, Maddison, and who am I missing out? Bissouma. Honestly, if you put those players in for them, that is going to be like it was for the first 10 games, but you can just see they're kind of further on down the line than they were in those first 10 games. And in terms of the squad depth now, it's slowly getting there. It's slowly getting there.
The only thing that's really missing, if we're being completely honest,
proper number 9.
Yeah. And that's the only thing it's missing. And
I don't think we're going to get a proper number 9. I don't think there are enough around for a team who swim in the waters transfer-wise that we are to get one.
So I think we've got to be clever with it now. And this is where, because like you said, a lot of number 9s these days are not going to score the goals that Kane's giving you, or the Lewandowskis of this world, or Benzema. They're not going to, right? So you have to be clever, because there's the guy in Germany right now was top of the goal scoring charts, right? Who hasn't been scoring for years, and all of a sudden he's come up trumps, right? So you are looking at someone like Dominic Solanke, where I'm not saying Dominic Solanke, where he's going to come in and be able to fit the system and be able to score goals. And for me, I will take a punt on Vlahovic at Juventus. That's probably the last piece I'd go for. I don't want to do it now in the January window. I'd more do it in the summer and give him time under Angeball, because I think what Allegri's got him doing, I think he could be completely different in a Spurs shirt. That's the only number 9.
He was excellent at Fiorentina, but hasn't done brilliantly at Juventus. But you think that's because of the way
Allegri played? Yeah,
that's interesting, guys. Listen, I think most importantly, as we end today's instant match reaction, a fantastic result. Any result at Old Trafford is a good result. Yeah, you might be saying Man United are not having a great season, they're inconsistent. It's true, but a lot of teams have gone there and not got results. Liverpool didn't get a result, and Man United do play better against the better teams. More importantly, thank you for supporting We Are Tottenham TV. Make sure you press that subscribe button, give us a like,